Good morning, traders, and this is your Aussie South African top 40 day trade setup for today. So ignore this green bar, that's nonsense data. So basically, why I'm starting on the hour is because of that green bar. So we opened over there, and we closed over there. Okay, so tail to the downside, tail to the upside. So what we do have here is pretty much a spinning top of the tail to downside, not that long. Okay, so that's pretty much indecision. Not something that I'm really keen on trading, just looking at that. Look at that 3 days in a row where we've got lots of tails. Okay, so clearly the strategy for most of the traders at the moment is to buy the dips. Okay, now we are on a weekly trend line at the moment, which is there. At this stage, we are above it. Okay, so what I'm looking for is some kind of confirmation. You will see, you look to the left here, you can see we've got with the trend lines drawn in. This is the previous swing low on the weekly. That is a significant level. We're starting to get a crossover to the upside on the weekly at the moment. So for me at this stage, I really would like to see a daily close above 51726, and that will give us a reasonably good measured move back up to 5323. Okay, but there is a lot of political noise in South Africa, and there's lots of fears at the moment around the economy and recession and a whole lot of other things. And the rand is being hammered pretty hard, but I suppose at the moment it is holding up fairly well. 14.79 at the moment, and 10 cents is up 1.5%. So I would expect us to have another pretty much gap up, pull back, and then go stagnant day again. So pretty much rinse and repeat of what we've been experiencing. Okay, so we can delete these because only one of them is really important right now, and I'm going to say it was the high of last week. So we got above it and we tested it, and we're now sitting on it. That high of last week is also a weekly high. Okay, so this trend line is wrong. So at the moment you can see trend is very much the upside. We should be trading long. The only concerning factor we have is pretty much that picture there. Okay, so that is a fairly significant wedge, and not much diversions with it on the 3 hour. But on the hour, we definitely have diversions. See, making new highs, making new lows. So that is a warning bell. Okay, whenever you see a wedge like that and you've got divergence, and look at the awesome oscillator, that's even a bigger warning. Okay, so I'm kind of reluctant to be looking at longs at the moment. I want to see a pullback before getting into this market. So that's kind of my view on this. And this wedge, or pretty much bring it back. Okay, so I would say back into this area here. Also lines up with the 200 EMA. We've got a gap. We've got a number of buyers stepping in. So that's kind of what I would expect. And I would almost expect this to be a Fibonacci level, a 50% Fibonacci level. Let's just add the 61.8 because that's something that this market loves. Okay, so in other words, for me at this stage, Any long is a bit of a reluctant long because of the wedge it's forming. Okay, so we could very well just come to the top and then down and then keep going for another couple of days before this thing either breaks the upside or breaks the downside. But the probability is a break to the downside. And anything down in 50,196 or 50,058 or I don't know, 49,700 would be quite far. So anything around that 50,000 area, I think would be a half decent place to be long. Your stop is going to be pretty much well below this pin bar here. So your stop area is going to be 48,863. Okay, so that's kind of my view right now. And I don't think we've got that trend break. And we still do have a measured move here as well, which it's just whenever you've got so many lines drawn on your chart, it just shows you how messy everything is actually. And that lines up with an upside target there of 51726. Okay, so anyway, long it is, but I'm really not interested in taking the long at the level that we're at the moment. Okay, this is a bit of a wedge, a little bit concerning. I want to see a pullback. If the wedge does break, it's also possible what they do is force it into a channel. And they'll more than likely do that by testing this breakout here. Okay, anyway, that's kind of my view at the moment. Looking for longs, just not where we are, waiting for a pullback. We need to see a decent pullback before I'm in on that. And if we just look at the ichimoku, just start on the lower time frames here. So you can see the 12-minute was pretty much bullish all the way through yesterday, although it was messy. The gap close was lining up with, so gap close was up here, but yeah, the cloud at the bottom. So that was an area for buying. 30 minutes, pretty much similar picture. Wait at the gap, and that would have given you a half decent trade. And the 1 hour, all bullish at the moment still. The 4 hour is a little bit of a warning bell going off. This, you can see we've got flat Kijisen, and okay, this is rounding because of this nonsense bar, but still look at the divergence between the two. We don't want to see such a big difference between the two. And the daily, we don't want to be so far away from Kijisen and Tikinson at the moment. They are pointing up. Everything's bullish, but I'm looking for some kind of a pullback for me to buy into. Just don't like these 2 days of two spinning tops like this. That's not a good picture. Okay, and if I get a third spinning top, that could be the indication of a short-term top. In other words, I would expect it to be moving back down toward the cloud. Okay, and the last thing to bear in mind, wrong line, is we do have a trend break here, and we haven't tested it. So don't be too surprised to see a move all the way down. Pretty much to come and close this gap in the short term, and then another opportunity for the upside. Okay, and the last, sorry, that was the last thing, but this is now the last thing. We have closed above this pin bar here. Okay, and that is a cup and handle picture. We haven't closed convincingly, so I'm not entirely convinced with it, but that is another level to be watching for. And based on where we are at the moment, that's 155 points to the downside. So 5780, well, sorry, 5800 is definitely an area that you need to be watching. Okay, 5800 is all the way down here. And that is definitely an area that you need to be watching, because that price could come back down to this area and bounce back up. Okay, so Lots of ifs and buts at the moment, but I do want to see a pullback. There's lots of structure for pullback. It may not happen. It may just keep grinding up, but still, I'm looking for pullbacks. Even if it's a small pullback within the wedge, take the trade off the bottom of the wedge to the top of the wedge. But any pullback is what I'm looking for to get in long. Okay. Anyway, guys, that's my view at the moment. I hope that helps, and I'll catch you later. Cheers for now.